Good morning, everyone. I hope that my voice is being heard clear. I wanted to talk about this one channel for anyone who looks like me that might be want to be woke up even more. It's called the Black Authority. The Black Authority. I believe that it is a very relevant piece of information in terms of the fact that it is a YouTube channel and it is extremely diversified, really giving me some different insight on terms of how I should approach each day and each night. I think one of the most important things that I'm learning, and I also think this is a part of power of prayer, especially when you are conscious throughout the day as much as you can be, is how do you protect yourself during the dream state? That's very important to me. So it is being revealed to me. I feel really good about it. Just getting a lot of insight on how your mind can change from minute to minute in terms of how the data comes to you in a way where it's frequency, and then you transform it into verbiage. So, like for a little while, I was thinking about the power of minds and how many of our children that are in the school system, they are thrown to the wolves and they fight amongst each other almost like crabs in a pot, while the pot is so slowly boiling to try to get out the pot, but everybody dies in the pot. How my mindset simultaneously, or it's almost like through a synchronicity, where I'm thinking not just about how my mind is changing and how the Lord is uplifting me and those who I'm going to come in contact with through thought transference, even as I'm making this video. But it's like this one individual, he was talking about being a consumer, like when we buy cars, when we buy houses, and why aren't we in a position to create and generate our own? Now, my situation is a little bit different because the way that I'm asking the Creator to come into my life is a means in which that I can generate funding that doesn't come from a foundation. It doesn't come from somebody who's super wealthy. It doesn't come from whatever I'm working on for it to be co-opted. And because my background is a military background, I have no, how can I say, these assumptions on how the government works. You see, my position is this, and this is the way that I'm taught. I'm not a threat to the government. What I am a threat to is my own ignorance. And I had to learn through trial and error that I'm a government unto myself when I govern myself. And the way that reality is set up is that if you don't know how to govern yourself, then someone else will govern you instead. But there's a way how you can do things, at least the way how it's coming to me, where the Creator will make all things known. He will make clear the highways and byways before you even get where you're going in terms of what you got to do. Like I just happened to be just doing some regular research, and they were talking about this lady that lived in this place in Michigan called Maryville. I never heard of it before. And so what they were saying is 97% blacks that live there, no, my bad, 97% whites, and the population of blacks is 1%. Now, that's all good. I mean, that don't mean that I want to go up that far and be in a state that's cold. You know what I mean? I want to go where it's sunny, it's beautiful, the whole nine, right? So I was thinking to myself, especially after having met some of the people that was in David Koresh's situation with the Waco situation. Because see, when I was in the feds, I made sure that I was in a situation where just how things happened, that I was able to get information that wasn't in the book. And one of the people, it was three individuals that I met, and one was a black dude, right? And he was telling me how it really was with Waco and what really happened with Janet Reno and just the whole situation with the ATF and all that, because I need to know that, right? It doesn't matter if someone else takes me and think that I'm a joke or I don't know what's going on, because you see, when I got with my Father, which is God, I asked as his student to be revealed everything, and what I would do in exchange is that I would follow his law. Because I'm like everybody else. I'm waiting for Jesus to come too. But the way that it's being revealed to me, Jesus is already here. He's not coming by no white horses up in the sky. None of that. It's see, you have to remember, right? Let's say evil is manifested in someone or an essence called Satan, the devil, or Lucifer, which many people think that they're one and the same, when in fact they're three different aspects. But you got to do the research yourself. You can't expect to know 11th grade data if you're in the 2nd grade, or you failed in the 9th and you're trying to get to the 11th, but you're trying to jump to the 10th grade. It don't go down like that. So why this information is so important to me is that if in man's mind there is an essence that can be manifested by coagulated thought, which we call a body, wouldn't they do everything possible? It's like a bully. It's like a schemer. It's like a liar. It's like a thief, right? They'll do anything to win. So there would be opposition against good to maintain the duality in a third dimension. But see, what I'm finding out too is that I became part of the game when I began to live, in reference to being in a body. But if you take the word live and flip it, it spells out evil. So does that mean that in order to live, you got to experience evil? Absolutely, without a doubt. So what's the next level? Well, the next level is, what do you do from within? Like, the main thing I do is I ask the Lord to protect me, but also the Lord has also allowed me to be placed in situations that I normally should have died. And I have what's called practical data. It's like, okay, like I had read one time that it says the Mossad, which is the Israeli secret police, from 1948, when they took the land from the Palestine, or should I say the Palestinians, that when they do their training, in their training you can get killed. Well, you can get killed in any kind of training. You could get killed in military training and as far as basic training and so forth and so on. But they said with the Mossad, it's a little more, it's not even a little more, it's like that, right? Okay, boom. So in my particular case, without me knowing that I was being trained, it's like I'm trained by like the NSA, the FBI, the ATF, any agency. But see, the person that trained me was God. See? Because I asked for the highest training. And see, sometimes getting the highest training is to appear what you're not. It's just like if your father is a general, he don't start you off as a general. He make everybody treat you like a dog. They know you the general's son. They do everything they can to put you down. Then they know the forces within the mind will also force you to put yourself down too, which is an altogether different gorilla, a different type of mental monster, because it's unlimited in what it can do. And so you scrape for that, what's it called? Private third class. I mean, that's the first joint that you get when you first go into the military. Third class, then you go to second class, then you go to first class, then it's another stripe, right? I think it may be a corporal or maybe something that relates to two chevron symbols. You see what I'm saying? Just like with me understanding symbols, especially with my people, right? One of the best ways that I can relate to them is don't even talk about it. Don't even broadcast nothing. Just have a symbol. They say a symbol can relate to 1,000,000 words. You know what I'm saying? So just like with Jesus, another thing about Jesus that I really like about his story, they say that when he went to his own village, he wasn't respected by his own village. So that's just like me being in my family. People in my family probably think, he lunching, he can't think, he's too old. But see, the Lord has blessed me in such a way that even though I have advanced years, my body's in pretty good condition. And I also know that when you start thinking with the mind of God, thought changes your molecular structure from the DNA level. Especially when you're self-guided and self-directed. So, what I'm learning from all this is, other than me getting a little trinkets that I like to have a nice life, it's really about how do I place myself in a position to, like a ghost, know how to fund factories, how to build land. Just like how I like what Dr. Henry Clark said. He say, look, he say, take a car, tear it apart, all the way down to its lowest element, have some students that are engineer students, and get them to rebuild the car, call it something else, create a copyright, and then put it on the market. But it's a way how you do it in a way where it don't matter. It's like, how about this one? You know how they say on a dollar bill, in God we trust. Okay, boom. Everybody can co-opt God, and I found out how. But how about this? What if you are technically the underdog, and God deliberately kept you there so that he can elevate himself with what appears to be the least? Because the only person who's not going to be surprised is me, because I'm currently going through this. That's why I'm making these videos. And like I said before, even though it may seem arrogant or conceited, the videos really are for me, because I got to study me. And it will show me what I need to do, no matter what the situation is. You know, I can think about so many things that I've studied and how it doesn't make any sense for me to verbalize it because I'm living it myself. And I'm still learning how to put it together. You know what I'm saying? Like when I asked God, I said, God, I want to be your son by agreement, by me saying this is what I want. And God gives you what I found out, that there's a law that says what you want wants you. What you want wants you. I used to always reflect on my life. I used to think I was, instead of Cinderella, I was Cinderfella. That whole demonstration to be treated grimy. Not so much misunderstood, but people like you in their demonstration because they can use you any way that they want to. And then they can look back at you and say, you ain't woke up yet? You that dumb? You that stupid? But see, we all have our roles. That's just like when I got stabbed up in 1984 with that 8.5-inch butcher knife, right? I had already studied something called OBE and NDE. OBE means out-of-body experience. NDE means near-death experience. So I had almost already had trained where I thought I might go. But what I had trained for, when I went where I went, I didn't see nothing. Nobody told me, hey, look, you know, in the spiritual realm, they say, look, you got other stuff you got to do. You got to go to earth plane. I didn't see no river with Christ on one side, me on the other, and, you know, and I connected with that. Or I didn't see no harps. I didn't see none of that. I saw the equivalent of what would be the prism of colors. I think the prism of colors is like green, red, yellow, and I think it's one other colors, because they're the main colors, right? But our eyesight can't see the total spectrum. I'd seen them blink off and on, and then I was in complete darkness. Then I was up. I was in the room. I don't know if they had me still handcuffed to the bed or not. And I noticed the main thing I did not say is that I did not awaken and say, oh, Lord, thank you so very much, Lord, that you are kept me alive. No, what I said was, my first words verbally and mentally was, damn, I got to go back to prison. And then I remembered walking down the tier on, I believe it was A Flats, I believe it was, in the Maryland Penitentiary. One of the guys that stabbed me, he thought he was looking at a ghost. And I remember on the operating table, while they was doing what they was doing to me, there was a really pretty, I believe she was a nurse, a black nurse, and she was looking over me, looking in my eyes. And she kept telling me, look in my eyes. And see, I believe that day or that day before, I had a fresh cut. Like, I looked like I had just came out of the barbershop. So I was, you know, I looked appropriate, you know what I'm saying? But you know, it don't matter what kind of haircut you got when you're dead or you're dying. So I say all that to say this. Would it have been different if I would have known enough that when I came awake, I would have said, Lord, Lord, thank you so very much? I don't think so, and here's the reason why I don't think so. I think that there's nothing in life that's a coincidence. Nothing is an accident. That was part of me, like Michael. What's that dude that Michelangelo, the dude that painted the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican? He used to say that there's a masterpiece in a block of marble. So if my initial aspect of myself was a block of marble, that means that the masterpiece is within the marble, and it's up to not the architect, but the individual that creates whatever is in the marble, whatever that term is, I can't remember right now. That's what I was in that marble. And now it's not a question why I'm alive. I am alive to elevate what I call it unnamed. But I see it everywhere as I'm looking, like I'm doing this video, I see it, it's nowhere and it's everywhere. It can take the shape of anything. And its essence, its root is you reap what you sow, and its origin is good. You can't even exist in this essence with, you know, you can't even take shape unless you're good. Now, they did say, based on all my studies, that in heaven, the individual that's called the devil still can come up within the presence of the Lord amongst all the angels. I'm like, well, what's that about? So I'm researching that too. But I truly believe that the devil has a job. And you can't tell me, let's say we're talking about the big G, the big O, the big D. You can't tell me that if I'm in existence for an unlimited amount of time and I create you and you're going to outthink me. It's not happening. And the only way you learn this is through direct experience. There is no other way. So even though I didn't get to the book, though I still can get to a piece of it, I wanted to read the prompters at work. It is strange how often we recognize right from wrong and how often we follow in the path of wrong, almost as if we desired evil. Scarcely a person lives who has not on some occasion performed some miserable act or deed in which he or she could not seem to help himself or herself, as if some magnet lured him or her onward, as if in the performance of this wrong he found a secret martyred delight. It has been convenient for society to propound or to make evident that this only proves that the devil lives side by side with God, and that evil is a thing in itself. A temptation tossed in the pathway of the righteous and the sinner alike. Let us not be led astray by this type of abstruse thinking. That means limited thinking. God and the devil did not jointly author mankind. Obviously, one or the other did, since the possibility of their taking up such a joint enterprise defies all rationality. If the devil made man, then God could not exist in man. Neither could good, and all would be evil. Since evil is error, all life would be error, and as a consequence, everything would be chaos without design, without form. If God made man, then man is essentially good, but being free is likely to fall into error in his search for truth. Isn't this mankind as we see it today? The devil is as illusory as evil. He does not exist in reality, neither do his fires. What man or men have always thought to be the work of the devil, we can in this age say with certainty is little else than the remembrance by the subconscious of those pain experiences which have been rejected by the conscious mind. So let me break that down. What that means is this: the subconscious mind can only manifest in the conscious mind what the conscious mind has an issue and a problem with. So if you err in an issue dealing with your conscious mind, it is downloaded into the subconscious mind, and the subconscious will manifest it in the conscious mind. But what a lot of people fail to understand is that the subconscious mind is 95% of what you do. The conscious mind is 5%. So most of us, when we act out, we don't act out in a conscious mind. We act out in a subconscious mind. Something our mom said to us, something that our significant other said, a teacher, a pastor, something you read in a book. And if you don't know how to check it with right thinking, you're going to have a problem. So that's why it took me so long for me to get to the point that I am right now. But I'm basically, I consider myself what's called a student and a master teacher. Here's why. There's certain things that I would not know if I had been through all that I've been through up to this point, but I'm always a student and I'm always teachable. What is my teachability index? What is my level in reference to my ability to change when I find out that what I've been doing does not work? But most importantly, who do I listen to? So I go to my God, the God of all things, and when I submit my will to it, though we may refer to it in the aspect of the male gender, what I ask for it to do is to give me insight, to give me understanding, to work with me with my right thinking, to help me catch something that is negative that cannot work, that is shown that it cannot work up to this point. That's the only thing that matters at this time. Everything else is not significant. And if I told y'all what I was really doing, y'all be like, boy, he is seriously lunching. But guess what? They got a part in the Bible, and I may not be using it properly, but it say, don't let your right hand see what your left hand is doing, or you may have to cut off your left hand. Well, I ain't doing that, because I ain't crazy whatsoever. And I know how to do my thing, that if I got an issue, all I do is get quiet. Just don't say nothing. Because people are going to think whatever they're going to think already. Until this evening, have a great and blessed day like I am. And I'm going to continue to work at what I'm doing.